So, yeah, there's been some sort of Declan Rice conversation happening over the last while, and I think we'd probably both be of the opinion that, is there something else to kind of talk about at this stage? But it does keep sort of winding up a little bit. Manuel Pellegrini has weighed in today. Declan Rice is a big problem, says Manuel Pellegrini, his club manager at West Ham, of course, saying that he's going to have to give some consideration, obviously, to which way he goes, and a lot of stuff happening in the background as well in terms of, as tends to be the case with these things, rumours and counter-rumours and conjecture that sort of keeps all our wheels nice and greasy.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we had loads of other Irish teenagers in the Premier League to speak about, in which case then this wouldn't really be that big of a talking point at all. But
it's kind of...
Just so happens we've played 3 games this year and there's this young lad who's been the best player in all of them.
That's the key, isn't it, really? It's like we wouldn't give a toss if it was...
Oh yeah, exactly. Whoever it can be. I mean, we have players sometimes at all underage levels who are unsure and on defence, and this happens. It's not an unusual dilemma. It's just a dilemma that's sort of afflicting the highest profile player in terms of, I guess, coverage of the Irish team in the last since the Denmark loss, because he's the one that has offered hope where it seems there may be none.
So yeah, we're not just talking about Declan Rice before the abuse starts, so much as we welcome it for engagement figure starts coming in for the sake of it. As I said, there is that development today. Also some interesting comments from Brian Kerr, who was on TV3's European coverage last night.
I think something has changed dramatically since all those lovely statements he made and the games he played. Remember, he played a match, the international match in Turkey. He came back and played the under-21 match during the week. I was at the game. He was the best player, and he celebrated with everyone at the end of the match.
His dad went out to Turkey with him. He said he was fully committed.
And has Martin has said that the jerseys are in a case at home, and all those things make me think something has changed dramatically. I don't believe it's the influence of the agents. I don't believe that Gareth Southgate, impressive and all as England were at the World Cup, that has changed him, because his statements are so certain.
So what is it then, Brian?
Well, I hope it wasn't something that happened when he was in with the team. That I hope that there wasn't some incident. I mean, Martin recently confirmed that there were altercations between players and one of the staff with Roy Keane. I hope there wasn't any incident or remarks made to Declan Rice that affected his view of the Irish setup and the Irish camp, because he did seem so happy within the environment.
Yeah, like the indication that there was some sort of an incident or thing said, or Declan Rice became involved in some sort of a situation that resulted in him ultimately saying, look, that's not for me now. I'm out. I don't want to be sort of around a camp where this is going on, either directly to me or to others, because, as Brian points out, Martin O'Neill has been out in the last couple of weeks to speak about incidents that Roy Keane had been involved with Harry Arter and John Walters, and they'd been diffused, in his words, and altercations was the expression that he used.
He's driving in ever-decreasing circles with those comments as well as Brian.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Rich. Yeah. Like, the thing is, what I would say is that the altercations with Arthur and Walters, and I certainly, I have a reasonable knowledge of it, but I wouldn't say, there is versions of the event going around, but certainly the timing of it was a couple of days before the France match, the first match of it. So after those altercations, Declan Rice played against France, played against the USA. So it was excellent in both games. So, like, unless something happened at the end of, the load of crap speculation comment about England, I think that happened after the USA game in the Aviva Stadium, which was the last game of the international window, and he hasn't been in Irish camp since then. So, was he playing in that game with something in his mind? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not going to say something with certainty, because you don't know what's going on in the camp the whole time. But I don't agree with Brian from the perspective that you can dismiss the other stuff, the club, the agent pressure,
getting
the stuff
the head turned.
That's what happens, and I think, like, there is a slight danger that. There is a reasonably negative view towards the management team at the moment, and I completely understand why that is. And it dates back to, what's been a very frustrating World Cup playoff, and a feeling of frustration probably around the style of play and so on. Yeah. But I think there is also maybe a bit of a wish here to also want to lay this on them. You know, that this must be it. I mean, this regime is creaking, and this has to be a factor in the whole thing. Whereas I think that gives Rice a bit of an excuse here, you know, in the sense that, like, Rice has been involved in the Irish underage setup for 4 years. You know, he's very close with Mark O'Toole, who was the guy from the FAI who recruited him. I've seen that close at hand after one of his under-21 games. Big hug, you know, families together.
Who's Mark O'Toole?
Mark O'Toole is the FAI's talent scout in London, who basically, you know, and the UK, but primarily, I guess, the London area, who is excellent, very highly regarded in terms of. So Declan Rice was in an Irish camp for the first time, an under-15 game against the Czech Republic. It started maybe 2015, I think, and it was O'Toole. And Rice spoke in March about. You know, O'Toole being a father figure and so on, and spoke about how the FAI had been very good to him. So I'm just not sure about the version of events that something, and maybe something did happen, but that something could be said that would suddenly undo 4 years, when in reality, you know, Martin O'Neill and Roy Keane might only be there for another 2.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean,
I just think that's given a bit
Keane
of a pass.
Keane could be there, obviously, longer than that is the thing that. Well, I think we all believe on some level that Keane is serving his time, whatever's going on. I mean, if he needs to serve his time, having carried out the duties he has as a manager, and at some point he is going to take it on. The only thing, look, and I suppose we're all sort of adding 2 + 2 here, and until Declan Rice himself comes out and says actually definitively this is the situation, whether he would do that or will do that or not, who the hell knows, but we're adding 2 and 2 and coming up with whatever numbers. The only thing is that, right, he did obviously at a certain point come out, him and his family come out and say, you know, I'm Irish, I'm going to play for Ireland, that's where I'm at. It just seems like an incredible level of commitment to, at some point then, even he's 19, accepted all that. So it just seems like an extraordinary level of commitment to give to, at some point then go, actually, I'm not sure about that anymore.
Yeah, it just doesn't. Again, I'm just thinking he left the Aviva Stadium after the USA game with a very firm line on where he stood. So to go along with the version of events that there was something happening in that camp that really upset him to the point where he didn't want to play anymore, then he put on a pretty amazing front, you know. So, or is there a claim that something has changed dramatically since he left Ireland camp on June? And I think what's changed dramatically since he left Ireland camp in June is he's got his club situation, you've got the comments from David Gold, and we've got England doing well in the World Cup. And I just don't think you can dismiss that. I'm not saying Brian is definitively wrong, but I'm saying that I just can't just subscribe to the theory that this could be the only thing that has happened, that something has happened in the camp. There's other factors at play here which you can't dismiss them.
Well, hey, hope you enjoyed that latest offering from Off the Ball. If you want to subscribe, and you should, check out just up here. All our latest stuff is just down here. Generally, knock yourself out.